stand at an intersection in Chengdu today and you feel the pace of change. Today, the world's largest e-commerce market drives booming retail sales, more than the US, United Kingdom, France, Germany and Japan combined. And it's driven by a surging middle class, a consumer-led juggernaut of 300 million people. But in the middle of all this change, you'll find deep relationships develop at a different pace.
Australia was the first Western country in the world to recognise the People's Republic of China. And that was a big step forward for Australia and a big step forward for China. So we've got a lot of history there. We've been the major partner with China in their opening up from Deng Xiaoping in 1978. China hasn't been self-sufficient since 1995, so they've needed to import product from all around the world, and Australia's been able to provide a lot of that product for China. So our relationship is so intertwined, it goes back a long way. So it's a deep relationship, and the things that we have in common, I think, are far greater than the occasional differences that we've seen play out in recent times.
Melbourne, Australia, home of the Grand Slam of the Asia Pacific. We're here at the headquarters of Tennis Australia to find out just how deep a relationship with today's China can be. It's a relationship CEO Craig Tiley knows only too well.
We always said it's going to be a long journey, and we're going to approach it as putting deep roots into the ground, learning about the culture, becoming more friendly and providing more opportunities for the people of China, and know that we're not going to have something that's going to tomorrow be different. That's why it's important to be in China and to learn about the way to do business and the way to communicate and who you should talk to and how you should meet them and how you should treat them.
So, what's the benefit of this time spent building deep relationships? Ben Slack, Tennis Australia's head of international business, believes it has a significant payoff later.
It's hard to believe that only a few years ago we actually didn't have a WeChat or a Weibo platform, for example. And now you look back on that time and you just think, wow, a lot has changed. Now, for example, not only do we have those platforms and you can get all the different content of the Australian Open, but you can also get the colour around it, all the stories, the behind the scenes. And for the first time last year, we were actually live streaming press conferences through our channels as well, which is fantastic for Chinese fans and consumers who want that customised content.
Tennis Australia's learning curve on doing business with China started more than 10 years ago. It's a 10-year journey that demonstrates how a successful cross-border relationship can flourish through on-the-ground investment, initiative and deep understanding.
We've learned the techniques of now being able to manage that, and we know it's working for us because we often have other countries from other parts of the world, and particularly sport, that want to have some interest in sport, and they come contact us and talk to us about how we've done it.
Well, if I think about the early 2000s, we were the Grand Slam, or Australian Open was the Grand Slam of Asia Pacific. But if I'm honest with ourselves, a lot of that was in name and location. But recently, or more recently after that, we then started investing in a lot of events and activities. That was primarily impact-based, high publicity, and taking the trophies into great photo opportunities and to engage with Chinese consumers. But we knew if we were going to have a better opportunity in China and growing interest in the Australian Open, we need to have a deeper engagement with Chinese fans. So we invested in an office in Hong Kong and Shanghai and local market expertise and experience. And having people on the ground and presence and working with them every week, every month of the year, you can really get to understand what they're looking for and the value you can bring to that partnership.
Critical to the Tennis Australia business model is that the company operates as a not-for-profit. This not only benefits tennis events, but helps to grow the sport itself.
So we cannot hold each year a profit. So whatever profit we do make that's invested straight back into the sport, and primarily in Australia, but also in our Asia Pacific region, because we are the Grand Slam of the Asia Pacific, and also in China.
Tennis Australia's strategic investment was starting to see results when something fortuitous happened. And the seeds of that were laid to some extent in August 2008 during a chance encounter with Chinese tennis star Li Na.
I can go on a bit of a journey with Li Na. I remember sitting next to her on a bus at the Beijing Olympics, going from the athlete village to the courts, and no one else was on the bus, and she was there. And it was at a time when I think she was at the crossroads with her tennis and not sure, where she was going to be and what she was going to do. Obviously, had an objective to do very well in her home country at the 2008 Olympics. And we had a brief conversation, and I always felt that she had a great game. And I remember encouraging her, I said, you've got so many assets to your game. There'll come a time where you're going to enjoy some great success.
From China, Li Na.
And then she started to do well, and it wasn't because of that conversation. She's probably had many of those conversations, but we always followed her closely because there was a connection. The Australians had a bit of a connection with the Chinese players, and particularly with Li Na.
When Li Na won the Australian Open in 2014, it added significant impetus to the sport in China and to Tennis Australia's marketing strategy.
Her impact has been phenomenal for tennis in China. And we've helped with schools' programs, getting young kids to play. When they have an aspiration, watching Li Na win a Grand Slam title and watching how parents see that, I want my kid to be like that. I want my kid to play. And kids see that, they say, I want to be able to do that. And the population in China is such, and the opportunity in China is such, and especially more recently, that would have a boost for the game. So I see a great future for tennis in China. People always say, we've had many women champions from China, where are all the men? They're there, just a matter of time.